Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Maldives right now, and we're getting live visuals of a warm welcome that he has received, and those are the visuals that we are getting for you from Maldives. All right, so there we can see members of the Indian Diaspora also welcoming Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Remember, this is Prime Minister Modi's two-day visit to Maldives. He concluded his visit to the United Kingdom and then he came to Malé, where the Prime Minister received a warm welcome by President of Maldives, Muizu, and the Foreign Minister of Maldives was also present along with Minister of Homeland Security to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi a short while ago. Then we saw the hug and the handshake with the Maldivian president, and now we are seeing visuals of Prime Minister Modi meeting with members of the Indian diaspora as well there in Maldives. And this visit, viewers, is extremely significant. In fact, this visit of Prime Minister Modi to Maldives is very significant because it is his first since bilateral ties got strained by this India Out campaign that was started by some Maldivian leaders, and that included President Muizu as well. There was a pro-China tilt and India Out campaign that we saw, and since then we are seeing this as a move that will help both the countries reset their ties, and this particular visit is being seen as a big turnaround in ties between India and Maldives. Of course, there's a lot that can be expected from this particular visit of the Prime Minister, and we are getting to know that Prime Minister was in fact invited by Maldivian President Muizu himself for this particular visit. He was invited specifically to attend the 60th National Day celebrations as a chief guest. So that also tells you about the importance Maldives is placing on India specifically, and how important India as a partner really is for Maldives, and that's the reason why this gesture by the President of Maldives becomes extremely important. And Prime Minister Modi, like a true statesman, honoring this particular invitation also is extremely significant. It shows how New Delhi is looking at Malé right now. Let's listen into what's happening there. All right, even as we stay live with these visuals that we are getting for you of the performances that Prime Minister Modi is witnessing in Maldives right now, I'm joined by my colleague Srinjoy Chaudhary for more on this. Srinjoy, now, a landmark visit to the UK concluded yesterday, and now another landmark visit to the Maldives has begun. Tell us a little bit about the significance of this two-day visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Maldives.
Well, his visit to Malé is extremely important for two reasons. One, it shows a complete reversal as far as the Maldives government is concerned. Let's not forget that 2 years ago, the government came in with the slogan of Remove India. And then there was Prime Minister himself who went to Lakshadweep. And not only was he there, it was a message to all Indians who go to the Maldives, saying, well, go to Lakshadweep instead. Now, after these 2 years, Prime Minister himself is in Malé. And this is a clear sign that Maldives has changed its view of India. What happens in an election and what happens when you're in government are completely different things. Now, there were several issues that happened. One, they had a water shortage. and India supplied drinking water. This is not something Maldives has forgotten. Secondly, suddenly they found they had a huge resource crunch because of loans that had to be paid and were not getting paid. Again, India stepped in and helped out. Third, there are numerous security issues that the Maldives face. That again, India has stepped in. Then there are all these Indian tourists who go to the Maldives because it's such a beautiful place. Once again, Maldives felt the absence of Indian tourists, which is why there's been a change in view of the Maldives, and currently the Prime Minister is chief guest. So it's a very clear indication of how things have worked out in India's favor and Maldives' favor because of this visit.
Right. So this also reiterates, Srinjoy, that for India, the neighborhood first policy is something that is extremely important. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect from this particular visit. I believe there's going to be a bilateral too between both the leaders. What else?
There's definitely going to be a bilateral. But more than that, he is chief guest. So you would expect him to speak and make clear his position on the bilateral relationship. Also, you are likely to see a whole lot of economic and maybe security agreements that will be signed by the two countries.
Okay, and clearly, this shows how important Maldives, the island nation, is for a country like India, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Srinjoy, on the invitation of Maldivian President, has in fact gone to Maldives, is going to be the chief guest of their 60th Independence Day as well. Tell us a little bit about, the importance really in terms of how this becomes crucial in terms of resetting the ties really, because during the political campaign of Muizu, we saw this China tilt coming in and, something that India did not really appreciate and like. But now this turnaround that we are seeing, what should be attributed this turnaround to?
Well, the best example of the turnaround is the fact that the Prime Minister of the country is state guest. Now, a state guest is usually, that honor is usually given to the President of the country. He's the state guest. Now, clearly, this is a clear example that the head of state gets this honor, which is being given to the head of government. Now, that itself is a clear indication of how important this visit is for the Maldives. Secondly, you look at the current situation with the Maldives. The Maldives is a country which faces numerous challenges. First, there are security challenges, whether it's pirates, whether it's smugglers, whether it's other antisocial elements. India has the ability to help the Maldives with its navy, with its ships, with its coast guard, and so on. Secondly, economic challenges. It's a small island which is entirely dependent on a variety of issues, including tourism. Now, suddenly Indian tourists stopped going there. It created an enormous problem for the Maldives. Now that problem is being solved. Now, thirdly, when there are emergency requirements, like for instance the shortage of drinking water, because these are little islands in in the Indian Ocean. Suddenly, this drinking water shortage, who helps out? Not people from far away, but India. So these